October 7th, trade recap. There's some good lessons to learn in this video. A couple of them, as you can see just by looking at my trade log, just like everybody else, even though I'm consistent and I turn the corner, which took me a very long time to do, I still make mistakes. Today is a day where I overtraded. That is what overtrading looks like for me. My sweet spot, like I've mentioned before, is right around 1 to 3 trades when I'm really focusing on solid setups. Anything outside of that number, and I can start to get into trouble. And that's where sometimes my really bad days can come. And as of right now, couldn't get anything going. Lucky enough, I didn't take any super big losses, but I am down on the day. Down $443, which is a decent amount. That's nothing crazy, but that's an okay number to look at and go, all right, I should think about wrapping things up soon. And then what I happened to do was just wait. And then I took a trade on BA, which will come up in a minute, which ended up working out all right. And then the interesting thing is up to this point, BA had some nasty news, and the day prior, the 6th, had a huge sell-off day. So when this gapped up the next day, this morning, I was actually more short biased. I thought maybe showing a lot of prior weakness the day before, sometimes when stocks can gap up into that huge, nasty red candle on the daily, that gap can get sold. And a lot of times I've seen the downside gap get filled pretty quick. So I was actually more short biased. I even had pre-market lows marked because I thought below 162, this could probably close the gap. And as you can see in this area, this little flag area right here, below some of the moving averages, below VWAP, I gave it a shot a couple times, ended up getting chopped up and was down 284 on the name. And then I was actually able to switch my bias. So the personality of Boeing, at least since it's caught momentum, is a lot of times when it dips below VWAP, if it can't stay below VWAP and it reclaims VWAP, there is that possibility of a VWAP reclaim, high-a-day squeeze. The only downside with this setup is there wasn't necessarily the most cleanest level on the daily because that prior candle was just a huge red candle, so it kind of messed up the daily chart. But as far as just knowing the personality, that I think there's plenty of people who are now trying to short this because of a little bit of bad news. Where other people are positioned is very important. If there's anybody stuck short below VWAP, if this can go through high a day, I think there's going to be that intraday squeeze. So just an intraday technical pattern and some sort of squeeze, and then I take it for that quick pop. And 164.50 seems like a key level. A lot of resistance. It ran into it a handful of times, the half number, and then also knowing that high a day is 164.97. So essentially 165, which is the whole number, which is where liquidity can be. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, dip below VWAP. I was even one of those people that took a couple paper cuts down there, minus 284 trying to short it. That was 2 trades. And now it did the VWAP reclaim. So now I'm just trying to wait for a pattern rather than just take it long, because I want to wait for a pattern to get created. So I have a nice area of risk. I risk off of the pivot low of some sort of technical pattern. So I'm just being patient here, waiting for a pattern, knowing that the half number is above, 165 is above, high a day is above, and I just want to ride this for a high a day squeeze. And then it's just about waiting for the pattern, being patient, even though I'm down on the day. And sometimes those emotions can build up and I want to continue to trade and click buttons like a madman. Just waiting, trying my best to control those emotions. I experience the same emotions as everybody else. The farther along you get into trading, you just get better at being able to manage those emotions, even though every now and then they do take over. So I'm just waiting, and this is starting to look like a flag pattern above the VWAP, just below high of day. And now I'm just waiting for a good entry, watching the tape. Right now, the tape is not going very fast. And all I want to do is see this consolidate above the 9 moving average, above the 20 simple, above the VWAP. And then the moment that I start to see the tape speed up, knowing that there's those levels above for a possible squeeze, that's going to be my go to give this a shot. But the longer this consolidates, the better, because the longer it consolidates, the more of a clean flag pattern this looks like, just above VWAP. And then now there's a clear pivot high of that flag at 164.50. So that's going to be that area of interest. And I want this to go quick, or I'm just going to get out. So I'm going to be giving this to 164. especially being that I'm down on the day. And if this doesn't work, then I'm going to shut my computer down, because it goes to show that I'm just not on the right side of things and I need to just walk away. So not only is this a technical pattern that I'm waiting for, but it's also the recent personality of a stock. So because Boeing recently caught momentum, it's starting to act a certain way. And sometimes that's what trading is about, being able to recognize when something has changed. Maybe the personality has changed in a name that you're used to trading, and knowing that all the prior days, that a lot of times Boeing dips below VWAP, starts to reclaim, and then does some sort of high day squeeze, and then waiting for the technical pattern to set up, and then having that belief and that conviction that if it gets above high day, it should do what it's been doing the last week or so, which is that high day squeeze for a nice momentum move. And now it's starting to set up and look really good. And right there, coming into 164.50, nice tight flag pattern, below high a day, above the VWAP, above the 9, above the 20, risking off 164. It goes quicker. I just get out, and I got long, 10 contracts, 247 was the fill. Spread is really tight, right around 164.40s. And then this goes pretty quick. Going into 60s, a little bit of size, offered at 65, through it. A little bit of size at 70s. And once again, I'm looking at the offers, and I just want to see them keep getting chewed through. 70s, got through it, up into 80. And then now I'm waiting for high day squeeze. So really trying to wait out for 164.97, because if it gets above high day, anybody who's short below VWAP, I would think that would be their out. So into 80s, want to see the tape start to speed up. 89, an offer. 90, some size. So knowing some areas that if this gets through it, I think it could pop. And as long as it stays above 164.50, feeling good, gets through 90, going into 165, right through it, 165, 40s, 50s, 60s, tape really starting to speed up right now. Right to 60s, into 70s, a lot of size at 76, through it, 80s. And I got out right there. And that was it. And that was a quick trade. So having that break the flag, and as it cleared that high of day, tape really started to speed up. And that's when I think a lot of people who are short below VWAP, stops triggered, the quick high day squeeze. I got the quick move, and I just took it. And that's all I'm looking for. Get the meat and then move on. So that trade happened to work really well. Notice the type of similar setups that Boeing has been putting in the prior days, just because it recently caught momentum. And then when it reclaimed VWAP, knowing, okay, let's wait for some sort of tight pattern. When it created that tight flag pattern, took it long at a good spot, got a good fill on the options. And then when I got that really fast, quick move, I just took it. And I was down $443 on the day. And that was an awesome trade that happened to put me up 412. And that's been a big difference in my development as a trader, where I can even be in spots that aren't necessarily the best, be down on the day, still be patient, wait for a solid setup, and then usually end up green on the day and dig myself out of the hole. And then this is really important. And then me be able to walk away. So if I'm having trouble, I've taken a handful of trades, I'm over trading a little bit, I was red, and then I got to green, actually being able to just call it. Not easy to do, but that's how I prevent myself from ruining a good thing. So that was the recap. Overtraded, but I came out all right, which was great. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.